deep in the heart of a war-torn landscape, an isolated outpost sits abandoned and forgotten. Once a crucial stronghold in the ongoing conflict, it now stands as a desolate monument to the horrors of war. A small group of soldiers is tasked with investigating the outpost, tasked with uncovering why it was abandoned so suddenly. As they venture deeper into the crumbling buildings, they are overwhelmed by a sense of unease. Strange symbols are etched into the walls, and the air is heavy with the stench of decay. But what disturbs them most are the whispers that seem to emanate from the shadows themselves, their words unintelligible yet filled with malice. As night falls, the soldiers huddle together for warmth, their nerves frayed by the constant feeling of being watched. But when one of their own disappears without a trace, panic sets in, and they realize that they are not alone in the outpost. Terrifying creatures emerge from the darkness, their twisted forms barely visible in the flickering light of their torches. With nowhere to run, and no way to call for help, the soldiers must band together to survive the night. But as they fight for their lives, they come to realize that the true horror lies not in the creatures stalking them, but in the outpost itself. For within its walls lies a dark secret, one that has been buried for centuries, and is now hungry for vengeance. As dawn breaks and the survivors emerge from the outpost, they vow never to speak of the horrors they witnessed within its walls. But deep down, they know that the memories will haunt them for the rest of their days, a constant reminder of the true cost of war. In the midst of a brutal war, a small squad of soldiers finds themselves trapped in an abandoned trench deep in enemy territory. As they struggle to survive against both the relentless enemy attacks and the harsh elements, they begin to notice something eerie about their surroundings. Strange whispers echo through the trench at night, causing unease among the weary soldiers. Some claim to hear the voices of fallen comrades, calling out for help from the darkness beyond. Others dismiss it as the stress and fatigue of war playing tricks on their minds. But as the days pass and the whispers grow louder, the soldiers realize that they are not alone in the trench. Shadows flit just beyond the reach of their flickering lanterns, and the air grows thick with a sense of dread. One by one, the soldiers begin to vanish without a trace, their screams swallowed by the endless expanse of the trench. Those who remain are haunted by visions of grotesque creatures lurking in the shadows, their eyes glowing with malevolent intent. Desperate to escape the nightmare that has consumed their once safe haven, the remaining soldiers band together to uncover the truth behind the haunting. They discover that the trench was built upon an ancient burial ground, and the restless spirits of the fallen soldiers have risen to seek vengeance against the living. As the enemy forces draw near, the soldiers must confront the horrors lurking within the trench, or risk being consumed by them. But with each step they take towards the truth, they realize that some nightmares are far more terrifying than anything the war could ever bring. In the end, only a few survivors emerge from the trench, their minds forever scarred by the horrors they witnessed. But as they make their way back to safety, they can't shake the feeling that the echoes of the trench will continue to haunt them long after the war is over. In the heart of a war-torn countryside, a solitary watchtower stands sentinel over a desolate landscape. Manned by a lone soldier tasked with keeping watch over the surrounding area, the tower is a beacon of hope in the midst of chaos. But as night falls and the shadows lengthen, the soldier begins to notice strange occurrences around the tower. Muffled footsteps echo in the darkness, and eerie whispers drift through the air, causing the hairs on the back of the soldier's neck to stand on end. Despite his growing unease, the soldier dismisses the strange happenings as the product of his overactive imagination. After all, in times of war, the mind can play tricks on even the bravest of souls. But as the nights pass and the phenomena intensify, the soldier realizes that there is something sinister lurking in the darkness beyond the tower. Shadows dance along the walls, taking on grotesque forms that seem to defy logic and reason. Driven by a sense of duty and a determination to uncover the truth, the soldier ventures into the surrounding countryside in search of answers. But with each step he takes away from the safety of the tower, he finds himself drawn deeper into a nightmarish realm where reality and nightmare blur together. As he delves deeper into the mystery, the soldier discovers that the watchtower was built upon the site of an ancient battlefield, where countless lives were lost in a long-forgotten war. The restless spirits of the fallen soldiers have risen from their graves, seeking revenge against the living for the atrocities committed in their name. Alone and outnumbered, the soldier must confront the horrors that lurk within the darkness, or risk being consumed by them. With every passing moment, the line between friend and foe blurs, and the soldier realizes that the true enemy may not be the ones he's been fighting on the battlefield. In the end, the soldier emerges from the darkness, his spirit broken and his mind haunted by the horrors he witnessed. But as he looks back at the watchtower looming in the distance, he knows that the nightmares will continue to haunt him long after the war has ended. In the dead of night, a squad of seasoned soldiers, their faces etched with determination, embarked on a perilous mission deep behind enemy lines. Their footsteps fell like whispers on the forest floor as they navigated through the dense foliage, their senses alert for any sign of danger. The air was thick with tension, each breath drawn with caution as they pressed onward into the unknown. As they ventured deeper into enemy territory, the darkness seemed to swallow them whole, and the once familiar sounds of the forest were replaced by an eerie silence. The soldiers exchanged nervous glances, their hearts pounding in their chests, as they braced themselves for what lay ahead. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the stillness, sending shockwaves of fear rippling through the squad. They froze in their tracks, every muscle tensed for battle, yet the source of the sound remained elusive, hidden in the shadows. With trembling hands, they tightened their grips on their weapons, the cold metal offering little comfort against the encroaching darkness. Whispers, faint and ghostly, danced on the edge of their consciousness, filling them with a sense of dread that seemed to seep into their very souls. Undeterred, they pressed on, their footsteps echoing like thunder in the oppressive silence. Each rustle of the underbrush sent their hearts racing, every shadow morphing into a potential threat as they struggled to distinguish friend from foe. And then, just when they thought they couldn't bear the suspense any longer, it emerged from the darkness, a creature of nightmares, its twisted form illuminated by the pale moonlight. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent gleam, and a guttural growl rumbled from its throat as it advanced, its intentions clear. Panic surged through the squad as they unleashed a barrage of gunfire, but their bullets seemed to pass through the creature as if it were nothing more than smoke and shadow. With horror dawning in their eyes, they realized they were facing something beyond their comprehension, something that belonged to the realm of nightmares. In a desperate bid for survival, they fought with every ounce of strength they possessed, their screams of terror mingling with the unearthly cries of the creature. But in the end, it was not the enemy that claimed them, but the darkness itself, swallowing them whole, and leaving behind only whispers of their harrowing ordeal. In the heart of a war-torn city, a platoon of soldiers found themselves trapped behind enemy lines. Buildings lay in ruins, their skeletal remains casting long shadows that seemed to stretch endlessly into the night. The air was thick with the acrid stench of smoke and death, a constant reminder of the horrors that had unfolded in the streets. As they crept through the rubble-strewn alleyways, their senses on high alert, a sense of foreboding settled over them like a suffocating blanket. Whispers, soft and insidious, drifted on the wind, their words indiscernible yet filled with malice. The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances, their nerves frayed by the relentless onslaught of fear. With each step, the city seemed to come alive with unseen terrors, shadows flitted across crumbling walls, and eerie figures lurked in the darkness, their eyes gleaming with malevolent intent. The soldiers knew they were not alone, yet they dared not speak the words aloud, for fear of what lurked in the darkness. And then, as they rounded a corner, they stumbled upon a sight that froze their blood in their veins: a makeshift altar, adorned with crude symbols and surrounded by the mangled remains of fallen comrades. Panic surged through the ranks as they realized they had stumbled upon something far more sinister than mere enemy soldiers, something ancient and unholy, a force beyond their understanding. With trembling hands, they raised their weapons, their shouts of defiance drowned out by the unholy chants that echoed through the streets. But no matter how many bullets they fired, how many grenades they hurled, the enemy seemed to be everywhere and nowhere all at once, a relentless tide that threatened to engulf them whole. In the end, it was not the enemy that claimed them, but the darkness itself, a darkness that consumed their souls and left behind nothing but echoes of their harrowing ordeal. And as the city lay in ruins, a silent witness to the horrors that had unfolded within its walls, it seemed to whisper a warning to all who dared to tread where angels feared to tread: